Hello there guys, and welcome back to the channel. So this is going to be my match against Heinz11 in MCOC Open Tournament that's sponsored by Evizone. Definitely check them out. All the necessary links are going to be in the video description. They are an amazing messaging and data file transfer service. And yeah, I entered the tournament as the highest seed, and I matched up against Heinz in round 1. Now, this happened a couple days ago, but I have been extremely busy, so I couldn't upload it earlier. Later today, I will also announce the overall results for round 1. And yeah, today is the deadline to submit your bracket predictions. That being said, let's get to it. One immediate side note: when the tournament rules were created, the boosts were bugged, and one of the tournament rules is that you cannot use any boosts. Since then, Kabam has fixed that error, which I had confirmed, and because of that, you guys will see a boost icon up top my name, because I was doing these matches in kind of a rush just after I did Alliance War. But yes, since last week of Season 1, Kabam had actually addressed this issue, so that is not relevant at all. So here we can see his deck. Galen is pretty much an auto ban here in most of the metas. Galen is just such a nasty champion. Archangel, even though I do have a rank 4 Archangel myself, I often like to ban him depending on the meta and depending on the opponent's roster. And now I'm having a quite hard time deciding who to ban as a third champion. I end up going with that rank 4 Sasquatch, because even if you have a perfect counter for rank 4 Sasquatch, then he still takes quite a bit of time to take down, and I did not want to risk that. So since I was the one who sent the first invite as the higher seed, he has to select first, and he's also going to have to place, he will have to place first in round 1, and then we're going to alternate in round 2 and so forth. So I picked Tigra and Guardian. Again, as far as the nodes are concerned, these are the friendly nodes, so it's just Dizzy and True Lies. So it's basically like kind of playing with no nodes, more or less. And here we can see. So he, after Guardian, he goes with Domino. And I must admit, at this position, I would not have drafted Domino anymore, since Guardian is on the field already. That means that I do have like one perfect counter for high sig Domino. I opt going for Nick Fury and Hulkling. Nick Fury obviously is pretty much the best defender you can have in virtually any of the metas, and Hulkling is very versatile for offense and defense. Right, so he's selecting Rintra, which is at this point extremely problematic for me, because I don't really have a great counter here for Rintra, and he goes for Hulkling. I'm not worried about Hulkling because of my draft 1 being Tigra. Now I just need to decide what I'm going to go for. I think here I am thinking of grabbing Silver Surfer in case I do need to fight the Guardian, and Silver Surfer can do relatively well against Kingpin. And I'm going to pick Mr. Fantastic as a hard counter to Rintra, but we're going to see how that ends up being, because Mr. Fantastic does Rintra great. Problem is, he doesn't do it super fast. Now he's going for Black Cat, and I must say that he also has an amazing account. And I do fully realize that in majority of the matches that I end up playing, I do have slight roster advantage, unless I'm going up against like Yusafa or TCN guys or handful of other people. But Heinz's account definitely is extremely beautiful as well. And here I'm just going to pick up a Nimrod, because I noticed that he does have Havoc and Domino. So I can use Nimrod against Domino, for example, which would be in faster, and then if need be, place my Guardian on defense or use him against somebody else like Kingpin. He's solid-ish option against Kingpin. So let's see how this round proceeds now. He's placing Domino for me, so I immediately kind of think this is probably a throwaway match. I probably should not have and done what I did now, that like I'm looking back. I should have realized that I'm gonna mince through that Domino, and the idea was here, he can have a perfect counter or very fast kill against Mr. Fantastic, but Mr. Fantastic always takes at least solid amount of time unless opponent has like an Archangel. So I kind of wanted to lure out a good attacker whilst knowing that I still have this one in bag. Now, the mistake that I made here was Rintra. As soon as I dropped Mr. Fantastic on the defense, I realized I'm going to be in trouble if he drops Rintra on defense in the next round. So if he does that, I pretty much will have to throw away that round. So for now, I just need to make sure that I will get a W here. So against Domino, obviously Nimrod is amazing. I only need to do like 4 parries. I have my 10 armor ups and everything's fine and dandy. At this point, I'm already at 12 armor ups. I'm in my shocking phase. That's fine. That means I'm doing more damage as well. I think it's called Blitz Protocol. And here I just go for level 2. And straight up that level 2 just nukes down the Domino. And that fight was literally just build up to level 2 and be done with it. 29 seconds, 99.8% health. There's, you know, it's very hard to beat a score like that, 56,000 points. I mean, it is possible. I have scored higher, but again, then you have to finish the fight in like 25 seconds or 22 seconds, which is never going to happen against Mr. Fantastic, I would say. And here we go. And another thing about Mr. Fantastic is that Black Cat doesn't really stop him from evading. I know that because of experience and practice, so to speak. Once you get your level 2 and you have that sabotage debuff on, then yes, then you can attack fairly safely. But before that, especially if you using Black Cat stack up some bleeds against Mr. Fantastic, then he's going to start evading quite a bit like crazy. So as soon as I saw that he's using Black Cat here for this matchup, I was quite happy with that, because Black Cat's also a very good Nick Fury counter, and that means that I can place my Nick Fury much more safely now on the defense and know he's going to do well. So obviously we do take this one. And again, this is best out of 3, so I do need to win 2 matches. So if I win this round, this match, then I need to win 1 more after that. And here we go. Round 1 goes to me. Now I need to decide who I am going to place on defense. And I here purposely dropped Hulkling because I didn't need Hulkling on attack, and I really need to bait out his Rintra. Now, he's going to place Kingpin, and here was the one tricky part. If he's a very good Havoc player, there is a potential version where he can do Hulkling with Havoc quite well. And that means, at the same time, if he uses Havoc for Hulkling, then I have a decently solid chance to win this one. But it's more than likely that he's going to go Rintra. Pretty much everybody would do Rintra in a situation like this, because obviously Rintra is going to destroy Hulkling. So I'm basically kind of throwing this round to get rid of that Rintra. Because if he places Rintra on defense, that's basically immediate loss for me there, because I didn't have anything at all for Rintra, I think. And now here, this fight is fairly straightforward. There is nothing too crazy about it, and I just want to parry the end of Kingpin's level 1s. In hindsight, I should have dropped 2 level 1s instead of 1 going for level before going for level 2, and that's about it. There's not much to it. Only thing that I do need is for Kingpin to throw his special attacks, and I can do this fight relatively quickly. But unfortunately, Kingpin can have either very cooperative AI, or he's going to have a completely awful AI. And here finally he does throw that level 1, which is fair enough. And at this point, already nearly a minute has expired in a fight, and I'm just now getting to my level 2. I dropped that level 2 and he's still at 23% health. So I clearly have some more work to do. And this isn't going to be the quickest of the fights. I really probably should have went for another level 1 before dropping that level 2. But I wanted to see how lucky I get with quote-unquote Guardian crits. Well, they're not really crits, but how big shock damage I can end up doing. So here I see that he's only at 8%. Now it's 7%. And I just need to get in like another combo to tickle him. And everything's going to be fine. But nope, I get unlucky with my would-be crits, and I only had 20 seconds left on the timer. And obviously he takes this one. Rintra is amazing for Hulkling. It basically is, if you get lucky, 1 level 2 that you need to drop. If you get unlucky, then you need to drop 2 level 2s. And that's about it. So it's 1-1 here. But it's fine, because we're going in round 3. And round 3, I have laid myself out quite perfectly. Because I have Nick Fury to place on defense. And regardless of what he plays, I'm perfectly fine. Both Tigra and Silver Surfer can do Guardian. If he plays Hulkling, I can Tigra that Hulkling. And if he has Havoc, again, both Tigra and Silver Surfer can do that. So he uses Havoc for Nick Fury. I am just going to go in with Silver Surfer because I do feel that Silver Surfer is just kind of maybe a bit sturdier. You can definitely use Tigra and probably score even higher, but I knew that I did not have to worry too much. As long as I finish this fight, Silver Surfer against Guardian will be faster than Havoc against Nick Fury. As simple as that. So there I start with my heavy attack, armor break him, so he doesn't have his critical damage resistance anymore, energy resistance is gone and everything else with it. So I can kind of freely build up now. Now I just want to make sure that I use my level 1 with the 2 Furies up. Now I'm basically kind of all set up and built perfectly. I just want to bait his level 1. Should have dexed that, but you know, it's all good. And now I just need to build to my level 2. Now that Power Cosmic has come back, I need to time it on my armor up, which is perfect, which also causes him to throw his level 1. Now his armor broken, I have a level 2. I go for my level 2, which is unblockable. He's at 13% health, and realistically I should have just run in there to finish that fight. Could have finished that fight in like 5 seconds quicker because I had unblockable. But still, 49 seconds, 53.5k points, and he's not going to do better there. He's simply not going to do better there against Nick Fury. So I end up waiting a bit, and yeah, we got this one. So first round we won. Now I need to wait for him to send an invite to me. And if I recall, I do the same bans here. Gallon is a big no-no. Well jealous of that 6-star Gallon, by the way. Not jealous of that 6-star Scorpion anymore. I'm going to get rid of that Sasquatch as well. And yeah, Archangel. That's it. Lock in the 3 bans. Something was up there, but it's fine. Whoops, 1 second, let's... So he bans my Gore, Nick Fury, and Human Torch, which is fine. First draft here, I'm going for Rintra, because Rintra is just an absolute tank offensively and defensively. Even if opponents do have great counters, kind of takes a while. And oh, there, right, I banned Overseer instead of Sasquatch, and he immediately gets that big Sasquatch. So here I go for my Mr. Negative and Kingpin, because Kingpin's great offensively, defensively, and Mr. Negative is great for Sasquatch and Rintra, both of them. So Mr. Negative is kind of like a perfect option here. But there's going to be something very, very interesting happening in this round a bit later on. He's selecting Killmonger here for himself. Obviously, Killmonger is always a fairly formidable opponent, and he's going with Warlock because Warlock can probably do Kingpin quite well, and also Rintra. Now, I need to select my options here, and I actually don't remember who I pick here. I think I'll probably go Hulkling and Warlock. Could be Warlock. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense in my head. Right, and unfortunately, he gets his Domino here. So he should have went with Nimrod, but he also has some defensive problems to solve in case here he needs something for my Rintra. And he goes with Mr. Negative. So it's kind of like we both are going to have rank 4 Rintra, and we're both going to have Mr. Negatives. But he goes there for Nimrod, which I actually am super happy with, because he could have picked that Domino and I would kind of be screwed. But all is well now. And again, I have a fairly interesting defensive set of 5 champions, largely dealt. So I need to figure out what I need to finish my draft. gonna go with Penny Parker and Dr. Doom because he didn't have any Penny counters here, and Dr. Doom can be, again, very good offensive and defensive champion. And his last pick, before we actually start placing and setting up fights, is going to be Mephisto, which I'm quite happy with, because a lot of people don't really kind of realize that Kingpin is a very, very good Mephisto counter. He's not the fastest, but he always finishes the fights with quite high health pool, and I like that matchup quite a bit. So I wasn't too kind of like upset for it. So I'm going to quickly drop Penny, because again, he doesn't have a really good Penny counter, and he's going to drop his Mephisto, and which point, again, I could use Mr. Negative. I could also use Warlock or Kingpin. So I have a choice here. But I'm going to go with Kingpin here. And I remember this match, and I think nerves were getting to me a bit. Like, right, so he goes with Nimrod. Nimrod is definitely an option. Nimrod is an option for Penny. But it's not like a super quick or super easy fight. Oh no, he changes his mind last minute. Warlock. Warlock is, again, doable. Warlock can definitely do Penny. You do need to play, you need to know what you're doing exactly in that matchup. But here, if I remember correctly, this fight is going to go perfect until, well, we're going to see that in a second. So, Kingpin against Mephisto I do like a lot. Initially, I like to start with several heavy attacks whilst the Soul Imprisonment is on, because then I don't get my Unstoppable, and I have quite little chance of triggering his Aura of Incinerate, and yeah, I don't need to worry about MD. Then I drop level 1, and with Kingpin specifically, I always like blocking Mephisto's level 1. Now, there I made an absolutely horrible, unnecessary mistake, and I threw my level 1 light. So this is what I kind of said about the nerves. I definitely should not have went for heavy attack there. I don't know why I did it, but at this point we're kind of back on track, I would say. Now he does have his aura, and obviously this is still kind of like an RNG fight, but everything's kind of going fine. I'm at 98% health. He has his aura, but we already triggered his regen. I'm just blocking his level 1s, so I do not trigger dexterity, and he doesn't gain as much power. Here again, I'm just kind of like slow playing with a few hits. I want him to throw his special one. And like here again, I was too slow. This is definitely a result of nerves, and I get hit at the end of the fight. And this is how you lose a match. This is exactly how you lose a match. Only thing I really had to do is throw one more combo and chain it level 1, and it would have been overdone and dusted. And I could have finished with like 95 to 100% health. But no, I just had to overthink it. And the result of that, through my level 1, too late, he blocks it, and then I get screwed. And this score, on the other hand, now is definitely beatable. 80% health, 75 seconds. You can beat that with Warlock against Penny, and at this point I was genuinely kind of stressed. But looks like my Penny did do a good job on defense, and he finishes Penny off with 1% health. That was a clutch fight there for Heinz. But yeah, obviously we do take this one. So now we already are in the point where if I win the next fight, I advance to round 2. It's kind of very important. But easier said than done when he has Rintrah, Sasquatch, and Killmonger. Those are some scary defenders right there. I do have Mr. Negative. So he places his Sasquatch, and I figure out, you know what? My negative is bigger than his negative. And, you know, Sasquatch and Rintrah both had Mystic defensive tanks. So let's have a negative, Mr. Negative duel, so to speak. Now, this fight is going to be absolutely awful and embarrassing. And I was like 100% sure that I'm going to be screwed. And, you know, I'm not the best Mr. Negative player, but I'm quite decent with him, especially since I have been using him more and more in Battlegrounds. But you guys are going to see something very special. So here, he goes unstoppable. So that's unfazed. So I'm thinking, okay, he has unfazed. I cannot evade too often. I basically just need to make sure I evade as little as possible. And here I'm going to push him to 2 bars of power, because I did want to get some of that adrenaline healing. I want to evade his level 2. Sweet, sweet. and he goes unstoppable again. So that's 2 out of 2 times there. And now I'm okay, I need to get in, but he pushes me to level 3. I should have just not be greedy and throw my level 2 with the 8 dark charges that I had without trying to convert to the extra light ones and deal with 1 petrify and whatever degens I had. But as a result, I ended up being pushed to level 3, which obviously procrastinates this fight quite a bit. And now I did get a bit of heal from that though. I basically just kind of want to make sure that I get as close to my level 2 as possible before I convert my energy. And I actually had an idea how am I going to do it. Well, that idea didn't work here. Here I get smacked again. Every single time Unfazed Mastery has triggered, but I'm not dead. So obviously in my mind I have already lost this match. In my mind I have definitely lost this match. Here I knew that if I trigger my evade on a heavy attack, I should have enough time to get out of the way, which thankfully worked kind of perfectly. Now I have 2 petrifies, I have degens, I just go in, drop another level 1 there, because why not? And he's kind of like melting the last bits. He's at 3%, and I have 4 seconds left on a timer. And there we go. So we finished the fight. So we finished this fight. And I was sure I was going to lose anyways. But I think it's some weird interaction with the nodes that we have in Unfazed now, or Mr. Negative in Unfazed. I'm not sure what's going on, because every single time I used Mr. Negative's Evade Unfazed trigger. What I didn't think at all in the moment was that I have Unfazed Spect as well. So I did awful. I really, really did awful. I get smacked, you know, every time I converted the energy and all that other stuff. And in my head, I definitely had lost, you know, this match already. We were going to go to round 3. And in round 3, in my head, I would have been screwed as well. Because if we check out the champions remaining, he had Killmonger and Rintra, to which, you know, my best of... Well, actually, I might have survived the next round, placing Dr. Doom and using Warlock or Rintra or Killmonger, possibly. Or, yeah, so maybe I would have won this one. But in my mind, you know, it was bad. But again, it turns out that we both were using Mr. Negative, right? And he also likely got screwed over by Unfazed Mastery. So that was my round 1. Now, over the week, I will be showing more of the featured matches with voiceover and commentary of the people that are participating in the tournament. And there are many, many cool, amazing things coming. Hope you guys are enjoying this. Hope you guys are following this. And I'll catch you with the next one. See ya. Hello there, guys, and welcome back to the channel. So we have all the information about